One day during winter, Tom alongside his wife Lisa visited his mum's house only to be introduced to a stranger, a man whom Tom's mum, Kate, had met online and was now dating. Kate called him Bob. Tom and Lisa, though surprised, weren't against his mum looking for a boyfriend online. After all, that was how Tom and Lisa met each other, through dating sites. If the man made her mum happy, Tom was totally fine with it. So Tom and his wife embraced the guy and they all ate dinner. After spending 3 hours with their mum and mother-in-law, Tom and Lisa decided it was time to head back to their house as it was getting late. On their way home, Tom would tell his wife what he really thought about the man his mum had brought into her house. Not that the so-called boyfriend was mean or anything, rather he was usually quiet and did some weird things like often closing his eyes for seemingly no reason at all and murmuring words that were odd based on the circumstance. Tom remembered when he offered his wife a chocolate before popping one in his mouth, shutting his eyes and moaning as the chocolate slowly melted in his mouth. Tom found the man to be somewhat creepy and didn't like him at all, and surprisingly Lisa agreed with him. She had noticed the same things too. Even though Tom and Lisa wanted the man gone as soon as possible, they decided to relax and watch how things would go forward. Who knows? The man might actually turn out to be good, and they were just being paranoid. However, an incident that happened days later didn't make things any better. During one of their visits to their mum's house, the young couple upon reaching the house could not find their mum, so they waited for her to come back. Okay, but where the hell was her boyfriend, Tom thought. Not long they began hearing noise coming from Kate's room. When they tried to open the door, it turned out to be locked. They would later find out their potential stepfather was the one who locked himself inside their mum's room doing God knows what. The young couple endured though until during Christmas time, just before Christmas, when their mum began to complain about the guy. After listening to all his mum had to say, Tom advised her to break up with the guy as soon as possible. On Christmas Eve, Kate would finally end the relationship with Bob, and the two would go their different ways. Tom and Lisa couldn't thank God enough. However, that wasn't the end, cause days later, the young couple would experience something almost horrifying. A little while after Kate broke up with her so-called creepy boyfriend, her son alongside daughter-in-law came to check how she was doing, considering how the relationship ended and who she ended it with. Upon reaching the house, Tom, who came with his wife Lisa, noticed her mum's car was in the garage, and her door was open, which was kind of normal as his mother rarely locks her door. This always frustrated Tom though, as it made her vulnerable. As they entered the house, the couple was shocked to see blood gushing out of the refrigerator through the space between the fridge and its door. There was a pool of blood on the floor. Lisa was terrified and Tom almost fainted. "Oh God, what has that creep of a person done?" he uttered. However, he summoned courage and went closer to open the fridge. Not knowing how he would react to seeing his mother's head in the refrigerator, he slowly opened the fridge, hoping he was just a fool who was being extremely and unnecessarily paranoid. As soon as the fridge became wide open, lo and behold, there laid a sack of frozen cherries that had been opened, crammed into the freezer so that it fell onto the ice dispenser and began to melt. In one night, close to midnight, a young boy was upstairs, still awake, unable to sleep, and a little scared of the night, when he began to hear noises downstairs such as footsteps and crackling sounds. The sounds were getting louder as his mum was approaching his room. Annoyed by this disturbance in the middle of the night, the boy yelled out to his mum to stop and go to bed already before going under his blanket again. His mum, seeing as she was disturbing her child, didn't utter a word and simply turned back and went back downstairs. Surprised that her mum didn't say anything to him, the boy would go down 30 minutes later to check on her. However, when he reached downstairs, he found a piece of paper with the sentence, "You're lucky I'm scared too," written on it, with a bunch of stuffs missing. The boy was startled and confused. He called his mum, who confirmed she had not arrived home since she left with her friends for dinner. Terrified, the boy ran upstairs to the bathroom, shut the door and called the police. Luckily for the boy, the thief or thieves left already without harming him. What a night. An old woman lived alone in a somewhat remote area. Her memories were getting weak, she was becoming forgetful. Most at times she would be surprised to find that her soap diminished quickly, her foodstuffs were depleting faster than it should, and even where she thought she had left her stuff was not where she would come back to find it. The old woman was confused but not worried, as she's probably the one using and misplacing these stuffs but not remembering them due to her memory loss, at least she thought. She kept on ignoring the incidents until one day she noticed a rattling sound coming from her attic, so she went to check. Upon reaching there, she received the shock of her life. She saw some makeshift living quarters, a small radio, hot plate, food wrappers, sleeping bag, pillow and more. Terrified, she quickly called the police, who came and installed cameras to survey the surrounding. To the woman's horror, they found a homeless man climbing a tree into the woman's attic through the window. Whenever the woman was not around, he would go downstairs and take some of the woman's belongings, such as food and other stuff. After speaking to the man, the old woman, seeing as he was polite and probably just having a bad time, took pity on him. She did not press charges, she helped him find a job and even allowed him to live with her until the guy could cater for himself. Wow. One Monday morning, an English teacher walked into a classroom with a glass of water. The students were surprised. What is an English teacher going to be doing with a glass of water in a classroom? How is it related to the subject? As soon as the teacher began to teach, at a point he raised the glass of water up, and the students, still pondering, were expecting the typical glass half empty or glass half full question. However, when the teacher opened his mouth to speak, he uttered the following: "Who can tell me how much this glass of water weigh in my hands?" with a gentle smile on his face. The students, though shocked, began to shout out answers of different kinds of weight: 150 grams, 0.4 pounds, etc. Then the teacher replied, "It doesn't matter the weight of this glass of water. What really matters is how long I hold it in my hands. If I hold it for a few minutes, it's fairly light. If I hold it for a straight 1 hour, its weight might make my arm ache a little. If I hold it for a day at once, my arm will likely cramp up and feel completely numb, forcing me to drop the glass to the floor. In each case, the weight of the glass doesn't change, but the longer I hold it, the heavier it feels to me. Your worries in life are similar to this glass of water," the teacher continued. "If you think about them for a few minutes, it's fairly light. After an hour, it begins to ache. Think about them a whole day and you will feel completely numb and paralyzed, unable to do anything else with efficiency until you let go of them.